Hello Stampers, you ready to go to the tropics? Let's go to the tropics today using a beautiful new stamp set bundle from Stampin Up. We're going to be using the Paradise Palms stamp set. This has everything in it to build multiple scenes. It's going to be a great one to use over and over and over again. And you can put so many different backgrounds behind these trees. It's an awesome stamp set. And then you can bundle it up with the palm dies. And this set has all kinds of palm trees and other things in it. It cuts out your trees, of course. And then it has this full-size palm. This would be great for doing silhouette scenes. Cut this out in black and put it in front of a great background, and you're all set. We're going to be using this palm leaf out of here and this strip right here. So let's get started with this project today. We're going to start with our main panel, so we'll start here. It's a basic white panel that is 2.5 by 5. So there's our panel there, and all the panel sizes for this entire project is down below this video. Just click show more and all the sizes are there along with all the links to the products. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator and you can order from me 24/7. When you order from me, every month I have a new tutorial package, and it's exclusive to my customers, and you can get the package just by placing an order with me this month. And every month the tutorial package changes, and so there'll be a new 10 tutorials next month. So with that being said, let's get going on our panel here. We're going to start using Balmy Blue, and we're going to use some direct to paper. And I'm just going to use my ink pad to put my color on my background. And I'm going to use the short end of the ink pad, and I'm going to have it at an angle. And you can lightly just drag it across, and you're going to build up color. And you're going to see it's going to streak. There's going to be some little stuff going on. That is perfectly fine with this type of background. Okay, so I'm going to go about 2/3 of the way down, and there is our sky. And then I'm going to bring in some So Saffron, and I'm going to pull my So Saffron from this side, and we're going to build it up just like we did our sky. Here we go. There's some land, or our beach I should say. So that was So Saffron. Then I'm going to pull in some soft suede, and I'm also going to do that direct to paper, and I'm going to lightly go over. And when you do this over the So Saffron, it's really pretty. So there's that. And then lastly, I'm going to pull in some early espresso. So from that same side, I'm going to get a little darker down here at the bottom. Okay. All right. So I want a water line here for to show where our water and our sky meet. So our horizon line. And I'm going to take that Balmy Blue ink pad that we used earlier and a post-it note. I'm going to place this post-it note here where I want, this is the sticky part, and I'm going to put it where I want my water line to be. So you're going to take the corner of your ink pad, and you can do it right along that post-it note edge. And just get a little color there. Or you can take a sponge, put a little color there, a blending brush. Since I was doing direct to paper, I showed you how to do it with direct to paper. And there's your little water line going across. Doesn't have to be real dark, it's very subtle. Okay, so now we're going to get going with our trees, and I'm going to stamp our home trees, I think I'm going to go ahead and stamp the shadow first. And so it's this stamp in the set. This can be used as a cloud, can be used in a distant like island. I'm going to use it for our shadow for our trees. This is soft suede that I'm using to stamp this in. And I'm going to put it right above my dark early espresso. That looks like a little hill, only it is the shadow for your trees. And it'll make more sense after we get our trees going here. Okay. So I'm going to stamp my trees. I'm going to stamp the tree trunk that has, that is straight. That's going to be my first one, but it's a little tall for this scene. So to make my tree shorter, all you have to do is place a Post-it note like in the middle of your shadow. Ink your stamp up here. This is soft suede I'm using. And you can stamp your tree at any height then. You just look at the top of it where you want the top of it to end and put your tree in there. Here we go. So there's my first trunk. And then I want one that curves. So I have a curved one here. And I'm going to take this Post-it note off because I want this one to be taller and it's going to go kind of off to the side. There we go. So there's our two tree trunks. Now we need our palm fronds. And I'm going to use Old Olive for that. And I'm going to use one of the palm frond stamps out of this set. I'm telling you, this set is just awesome to use for scenes. I'm going to stamp one palm frond here. There we go. Then we'll stamp the other one. So now we have our trees. And then I have one more thing I want to do. I want to add a little island. And that stamp that we used for the shadow, I'm going to bring in and I'm going to use Early Espresso ink for this. And I'm going to stamp just this portion of the stamp along our horizon line. And that will make a little island that juts out. Just make sure you have it down in the water a little bit. So that's a little island off in the distance. So that was quick to do, right? And then we need a sun. So I'm going to use Bumblebee to create my sun. You put your sun anywhere in your scene you want to. I'm going to just add it along the left side here up in the sky. If you put it lower, it's like lower in the day. The day's, you know, about to set. So we'll put it like right here. It's okay to go over some of your palm fronds because they're darker and so they still look like they're on top of the sun instead of behind. So there's our sun. Well, our scene's coming right along, isn't it? And we're just going to add a few things to our scene here. Just bring in some markers. And I'm going to use a fine tip of a basic black marker. And I'm not going to go beside the tree trunk. I'm going to go on top of the tree trunk on the very right edge of each of the trunks. And I'm just going to add a shadow side to those trees. I'm going to do it to this other tree too. Now remember, I'm going on top of the tree, not beside the tree. Otherwise your tree trunks start to look really fat and we don't want that. And I'm going to grab a white chalk marker, and for the other side I'm just going to add a little bit of white just for a little highlight, like the sun is bouncing off the left side of that tree trunk. So I'm going to take a dark mossy meadow marker, the Stampin' Right marker. This is a dark mossy meadow, and I'm going to use the fine tip, and I'm going to add little lines in my palm fronds. Okay, and this is going to make it look like the light is shining on these palm fronds. So I'm just doing it on the bottom of some of these. We'll do it on both trees. There we go. And that's cute, isn't it? So there we go. And then I like to darken kind of the center of this tree here, just so it looks like that the leaves aren't just sitting on top, they're actually growing out of the tree. That makes me happy. So there we go. So that was the dark mossy meadow. Okay, so there's our scene. And now I believe we are all ready to get going on putting our card together. So I'm going to bring our cardstock out here. I have a card base that's soft suede, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, and then I folded it in half for a quarter card. I cut 2 panels out of crushed curry, and these panels are 4 by 5.25, so I put one on the front of the card, and then one is on the inside of the card. And on the inside of the card I also added a basic white panel that is 3 3/4 by 5. So there's our card base. And our main image panel, I'm going to adhere to a soft suede panel that's 1/8 of an inch larger than our white panel that we started with. So this soft suede panel is 2 5/8 by 5 1/8. Get my multi-purpose glue out here, but you can use any adhesive you have. Just going to center it on that panel, and so that's all ready, and we can adhere this to our card front, and I'm going to adhere it over to the right side. I'll leave about 1/4 of an inch over on the right. There we go. And then I cut this little strip out of soft suede using one of the dies from the Palms die set, and this strip was 1 block larger, and I just cut off 1 block so it'd fit in on here. So that's what I did, and then we're going to adhere this on. I just kind of very lightly add glue to the back of this. There we go. Kind of center it in the middle of this place here. Okay, there's that. And then I cut 3 of these palm fronds out, and I'm going to take that dark mossy meadow Stampin' Blend marker, and I'm going to use the brush end, and down the center of these palm fronds here I'm just going to add some of this color, and that really just brings them to life, that two-tone look. And it's really simple. You just go right down the center of like the veiny part, and it puts some on the insides of the leaves too. Easy way to make two-tone leaves. There we are. So there's our 3 pieces, and those were originally cut out of old olive, if I didn't say. So I cut 3 of them out of old olive using a die from the Palms die set. And then we're going to adhere these to our card front. And I just really put adhesive down the center of these, right down like the vein. And we want these a little higher than right at the bottom, because we need room to put our sentiment piece on here. So I'm kind of stacking them and going upwards. Okay, got one more. Don't you just love these die bundles that Stampin' Up! Puts out? It's like no-brainer on coordinating these products that way. Okay, and so I wanted to stamp the happy birthday in the stamp set, and I cut this out using a die set. Let me grab it here so you can see what's inside of it. It's a Stitch So Sweetly dies from Stampin' Up! And all of these images here, you die cut, and it leaves a little stitched edge around it. And it's just darling. They have a few sets that have that stitching around it. So that's what that came out of, and I stamped it on basic white, and then I die cut it using that die. And I wanted a little color on this because, boy, it just really kind of throws you putting it on there white. So I'm going to bring out my crushed curry for this ink, and we're going to do direct to paper on this also. You can start by making the edges very dark just by scraping the edges on your ink pad. That gives them a really dark look there. And then I wanted some on the top, but I wanted it to kind of look like it was just like slapped on there, painted, you know, willy-nilly, just to give it just a little different look, like it's been around a while. So there's that. I just used the corner of the ink pad and kind of painted it on. So this is going to go on here, and I'm just going to use Stampin' Dimensionals for this. I'll put 4 Stampin' Dimensionals on here so it sticks really well. And pops this up. Alright, and then we're going to adhere this to the front of our card. And there it is. So there's today's project. I hope you enjoyed this card tutorial and that you give it a try and that you're so inspired that you just want to get inky. Thanks for joining me. Bye.